Let's get this party started. Make sure that everything set up completely correct on both ends. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's it going today? I am setting up right now so we can have a little discussion. Getting back to that again. I am back. I am back. I am back. Okay, complete. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. I'm going to talk today about seasons, knowing your season. Oftentimes people get confused about life, or I'm not going to say people, Let's start my TikTok live. Try and get this live going on here let's get this live going on Facebook as well too. Okay, complete the post details. Let's get that all done. Checked in. Get it going. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So I'm on this morning because I'm going to talk about a topic of seasons, which is the topic that is important for us to know. I'm trying to get all my devices going live at the same time. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Seasons. Just a discussion, not an interview, not a lecture. Just wanted to share some of what I've learned over time. You know, it's important to share what you've learned with other people. One thing that I've learned over the course of time in my life is that we have seasons, right? I made a post this morning that said that either it's your season or it's not your season. Oftentimes we're trying to do things out of season, and that's where we experience the most frustrations that we have, is trying to do things outside of our season of time in which we should be doing something. I found that the ability to recognize what season you're in can very well impact your mental health. It can affect how you see things. It can affect how you are towards other people. It puts you in a position where you can be out of pocket with people. You can be out of pocket with yourself. You can be delusional of the reality that you're in when you don't know your season, right? And of course, you know, and I know that there is basically 4 different seasons. There's summer, winter, fall, and spring. And not in that particular order, but nevertheless, those are seasons. And each season has certain attributes to it. And when you recognize the attributes and how it impacts you, you can function a little bit better. When we don't function well is when we don't recognize the season that we're in, or we don't know the attributes behind the season, right? So, like, let's take, for example, the summertime. If you're in your summer season, things are going to be intense. You know, the heat can be an intense thing. It can, if you ever seen somebody that's overheated, they're exhausted, they're burnt out, they're they can't endure anymore. The sun is a hot, intense, and it's not comfortable. They're not comfortable. That's a season that you have to realize that you're not comfortable. Thanks, Crystal. And things are not going to be pleasurable. When I tell people, when you're in the summer season, stop expecting everything to be pleasurable to you. The one thing you want to adjust with is uncomfortable. And during the summer, the way you survive is by taking things off. So the summer season you're in is really about how much are you carrying that you should be letting go? What can I take off? What can I take off my plate? If you're in the summer season, trying to operate like you're in the fall season, which is the gathering season, you're going to find yourself taking on more than you can handle. Now, that's from a personal perspective, professional perspective, business wise, whatever the case is, you're taking on things that you shouldn't. And you know that if you're wearing too much clothes in the summertime, it gets extremely uncomfortable for you. There's times in my life when I really believe I carried more than I should have carried. I had on more than I should have. I had more responsibilities than I I should have taken in that season. And during that season, you cannot perform as great as you expected yourself to perform because you have too much on it during the summer seasons, right? Um, Now, the thing about the summer is that you might have brief periods in when it's not as hot, but the fact is the temperature always stays at a certain level. So if what's happening in your life is intense, it's going to stay that way for a certain period of time and it's going to be consistent. That's because you're in your summer season. It's like, why? And we'll do this like, why won't life let up? Why is this happening to me? Why is it not going away? Well, that's the season you're in, and all you can do is endure the summer. You could find shade, you could find air condition, but the fact is, to get things done, you have to go outside. That's why the summer season is so hot and intense, and it's running 100 miles an hour. Now, the spring, right? Spring's a little bit different. The spring is probably the time in your life where everything seems to be going fine. It's great. It's good. And as long as you're in that season, everything seems to be going your way. And the one thing I always tell people, good morning, my friends. The one thing I tell people is be careful not to compare your season to somebody else's season, right? Because in your spring season, you'll feel invincible. You'll feel like, everything is working out, everything is going my way, everything's happening the way it's supposed to. I got it right. And why aren't they getting it right? Why are they not getting it right? Why they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing? That's because you're in your spring season now. The thing about it is, in your circle of friends and people and affiliates, know this: not everybody's in the same season at the same time. That's the one thing you better recognize, right? That's what keeps you from being judgmental, heady, and high-minded. That's what keeps you from being unrealistic towards somebody else. When you recognize we may not be in the same season. When you compare yourself to the next person, you better make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Sometimes y'all comparing summers to springs and springs to falls and falls to winters. And the person that you're looking at doesn't look the way that you think they should look because they're not in the right season, because seasons are meant to develop us as a person, right? So whenever you are in a spring season, your new things are happening to you. You might have a new job, you might have started a new business, you might have gotten a new relationship, you might have just graduated and finally gotten that done. Spring is a time for birth and new things. You got a new idea, you got a new revelation on life, whatever the case may be. But the thing is, you're in the spring season and it feels good to be in that season. But the other thing I want to shoot at you is that this seasons are temporary. I had to tell it to you, right? Seasons are temporary. What you're experiencing has a time constraint on it. And I'm gonna tell you this: not everybody has the same amount of time in a season. Um, the way seasons manifest themselves depend on where you live at. Where you're at in your life depends on how the season is gonna be. So be mindful of that before you become judgmental of somebody else's season. So now the fall, right? The fall season is the season that a lot of people don't like, which you're not going to like, right? During the fall season, it looks like everything is falling apart in your life. See, you would think the summer. The thing about the summer is intense, but you're handling it. You're surviving. You're making it. You're learning to take things off. And even when you don't want to cut off relationships, you're cutting it off in the summertime. The spring, you're enjoying it because it's just enjoyable because you're winning constantly. But during the fall, everything you work for, everything you admire, it looks like things are dying in your life. It looks like things are falling apart in your life. It looks like nothing's passing through, nothing's making it. No idea that you're putting in, the work you're putting in doesn't seem like it's happening. The things you've invested are not coming to fruition. Everything's changing color. Good morning, mother. See, my mother's on Facebook Live. It's been a while since I've been live on Facebook. The fall season is probably one of those seasons where it feels like nothing's working out. And you're working, but nothing's working out. I don't know if y'all caught what I just said. You're working, but nothing's working out. That's a fall season that some of you are in. Now, the thing about it, don't stop working during your fall season, people. Y'all caught what I said? It can be a time in which you can get depressed because every idea I've tried, every place I've invested money, every person I spent time with, nothing's coming back to me in return. Everything is falling apart. Everything's naked. The trees are transparent, is what I call them. They don't have any shade for you. They're and nothing is moving in the fall. Everything's slowing down. It seems like you might come with energy and is not being met with reciprocity. You're not getting that from people, right? So you got to be mindful of when you're in your fall season. It looks like things are falling apart. Now, the key word of what I said is it looks like it's falling apart. And what you don't know about this 3 seasons I've listed, I'm about to hit the 4th season, is that all of those seasons are necessary for us to grow as a person. It's necessary for us to grow as a business. It's necessary for us to grow as a family. It's necessary for us to grow as a social group. Whatever you want to apply this to, all those seasons are necessary. It's necessary for you to have intense, uncomfortable seasons in your life. It's necessary for you to have prosperous, everything's working out your way seasons in your life. It's necessary for you to have a fall season in your life where it doesn't look like anything's working out. But there's a season that we need desperately that we don't spend enough time enjoying. That's the winter season, right? That's the season where nothing happens. You do nothing. You hibernate during that season. Like in some places there's snow and you have no choice but to do nothing. That winter season is frigid, is cold, nothing moves, nothing happens, including yourself. And you have to accept that. There's a time in your life when you do nothing but do the same thing you've been doing. You sit down and you wait your turn. Now, when you're in your winter season, I'm gonna warn you, don't stare at somebody in their spring season. Oh my goodness, it can feel horrible because you can do nothing to make your situation change, and they're doing everything, and everything they touch turns to gold. This is why you should not compare, right? Comparison. I don't like comparisons amongst other people because comparison leaves you in one or two places. When you start to compare, either you're going to think you're better than someone, or you're going to think you're less than someone. Is the greater than less than effect whenever you do a comparison thing, right? And you don't want to spend your time comparing yourself to people in particular because you might not be aware as to what season those people are in. Those people might be in the season. Some people have been in the winter so long that they flourish soon as they get to the summer. They're making a summer so they can get to the spring. Now I'm gonna tell you this: when it comes to human nature, your seasons don't go in the order as the planet. I don't know if y'all caught that. I know the spring comes, then the summer, then the fall, then the winter. But that's not necessarily how it's going to happen in your life. You can move from a summer straight to a winter. That's why when I put this thing together in my thoughts, it was like you need to know your season. Look at what's happening in your life. And when I'm saying what's happening, don't confuse what you made happen with what's actually happening naturally. Sometimes we provoking seasons to come ahead of schedule. Some of y'all are making it summer when you're in your winter. Y'all caught that, right? So be mindful of sitting back and understanding your seasons. The key word is your seasons, not my season. You don't need to worry about my season. You don't need to worry about somebody else's season. You need to worry about your season. Good morning, my friend. How's it going this morning? Worry about the season you're in and learn to survive in it. Now, you know one thing about seasons. Right now we're going through an Arctic blast in this country, right? It's winter time. Some of us don't like winter. We don't like not doing anything. We don't like that season when it's out of our control, when nothing you do is going to work, when there's not even opportunity nor resources for you to get things done. So we don't like that season, right? We don't like the season when you're going to have to bundle up, when you're going to have to cover up, when you're going to have to try to just keep warm and survive and do with, watch this, make do with less. Let me let that sink in your head for a second, right? During the winter, you're going to have to make do with less. Now, I hope for your sake that during the summer, the spring, in the fall, you was gathering. Y'all didn't catch that. Gathering, right? Because the gathering during the summer, gather as much as you can, knowledge, support, information, whatever it is that you need to survive. During the spring, when you're in your season of abundance, when when everything is working for you, make sure you're saving up. See, some of y'all burn through it because you forget that you're going to go through other seasons. Because when you get to winter, it's very much so miserable when you are sitting there and you can't do anything at all and you're in the winter season. See, during the winter, there are some people you need that's hibernating. They intentionally can't be reached. You're calling them, you're reaching out to them, they don't call back. Those people are smart enough to hibernate during that season. They know I need to reserve energy for myself. See, hibernation is a time when animals realize that I need to save up my energy because the energy I'm gonna spend trying to make something happen that ain't supposed to happen is gonna burn me out and it's gonna take me out. So during your winter season, there are people that have figured out I'm not supposed to do anything. Some things are out of your control, some things are out of hand, out of touch. And the sooner you recognize that, you'll stop wasting energy. Some of us like wasting energy though. Now this little information that I'm sharing with you guys came to me when I woke up this morning, right? It's about knowing your season. Um be careful that you don't take your season and throw it in somebody else's face, right? If you wouldn't throw your winter season in somebody's face, why would you throw your spring season in somebody's face, right? Good morning, Auntie. Good morning, Mary. Good morning, all my friends. See, some of us are braggadocious and we like to throw our seasons in people's face. We want to show off our vacations, we want to show off our new outfits, we want to show off our new car, we want to show off a new house. And in the world of social media, it can become insensitive to others sometimes. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a right to share your spring season, right? Let's talk about the spring people. During the spring season, you got it going on. You got nice things. You got new jobs. You start a new business. You got elected onto a new board. You're in a new organization. It's new. It's a season of new things, beautiful, colorful. And look, you deserve it. You've been waiting long and hard for this. You ever heard them say you got a long winter? Some of y'all have a Groundhog's Day, right? Where the winter's a little bit longer than you expected. So now you're dealing with the people who are in the spring and they want to celebrate. Spring people deserve to celebrate, but be mindful of the audience you're celebrating in front of. Celebrations don't have to happen in front of groups all the time, right? We have to be mindful of that. I think I've probably been guilty of it at some time in my life. Um, Sharing, I'm just sharing the goodness of what I got in my life. I'm sharing the goodness of the Lord. We're sharing, but don't realize that sometimes it looks like we're throwing our spring season in front of somebody in the winter season. And that winter season, cold is bitter. I'm gonna say that. Cold can be bitter. It can be a bitter time for some people. You don't know that sometimes just enjoying your spring in front of winter people can create enemies. It can create people that don't like you just simply because you're just enjoying your spring. There's a proper way to celebrate and there's an improper way to celebrate. You can't always control the way somebody feels, but you should be mindful of it, especially if you want to protect and enjoy your spring season. Because what I've seen where people in their spring season have a braggadocious approach towards their season, and a season got cut short. Y'all ain't heard what I said. Your season can get cut short. Sometimes the length of a season is dependent upon how the person's enduring it, how they're handling their season, how they're interacting with their season. So be mindful of what you're doing in your season. Now, vice versa, right? Let's talk about the winter people and the spring people. Winter people can be depressing sometimes. You're in your winter season and all you're doing is complaining constantly. And you know what I found? That people that complain about their season often are not very aware of the purpose of their season, why they're in that season, what's supposed to happen, and what they're supposed to do in that season. It's important for you to know how to handle your seasons. A farmer doesn't plant seeds in the fall season and in the winter season. See, some of y'all are making investments in the wrong season. Y'all are starting your businesses in the wrong season. Y'all are getting in relationships in the wrong season. It's a lot of things we can do out of season, out of character that can mess us up in the future. Sometimes that's why we haven't had the level of success that we really want, is because we don't understand the seasons. One thing about a farmer is a farmer's got to understand the season. They got to know the seasons. When you think about your life and what you want to accomplish in life, you got to think about the long term. The long term, the problem is we're short term thinkers most of the time. We're always thinking about the right now, how it feels right now. And we're not thinking about 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, right? Um, when you start thinking about down the road, what what was destined to happen, what do you need to do to secure the success that you want in life, you start looking at your seasons and where it's at. You start looking at the behaviors of the seasons. Farmers do that very well. And let me tell you something about seasons that you know. Sometimes seasons are not as productive as you want them to be. It could be a blazing hot summer, or it could be a regular hot summer. It can be a quick spring, or it could be a pretty lengthy spring. It can be a fall that seems to just be moving slow, or it could move rapid. It can be a deep, cold, dark winter and long winter, or it can be one that's not as cold and frigid. The choice of the winter oftentimes is up to whatever God has declared in your life for your reasons and what you need, or it could be a byproduct of what you've done in the seasons you created. Because we, just like on the natural planet, there's some things that we're doing in the environment that's changing the way the seasons are interacting with us. It is what it is. One of my friends say, "What are your thoughts on numerology or the Farmer's Almanac?" Okay, I'm going to talk about the Farmer's Almanac, and my thoughts of that is that the Farmer's Almanac provided a lot of insightful information, but just like people, we've interacted with an environment. We've been such control freaks. We've not handled certain things right, that some of the information isn't helping us anymore. It's changing. It's a different dynamic. Some of your friendships and some of your relationships, some of your mojo that used to work is not working anymore because the way you've handled your certain seasons. You handle that summer season wrong, you know and then the winter seasons are different. You handle that spring season wrong, and then the fall season in your life is different. But that's the way it happens. Information um is time limited. All information isn't forever and eternal, as far as the way that we interact as people, because we're changing. We're a changing being. We're always looking for something new, and we don't always handle everything right. We don't. We don't always handle everything right. Um, personal testimony is I'm in a season of I think I'm more in the summer season, right? I think my summer season came around August, September time frame for me. As y'all know, I was in the hospital during that time. When I started my hospital journey during that time, when I went to the hospital and found I had all kind of stuff wrong with me and didn't even know why, and the doctor still don't know why. But that was a summer season, and quickly it jumped into a winter season. That was a part in my life during between September and January when I couldn't do much, but other than what the doctor said to do. So that was a season where I couldn't force situations to change. I couldn't do surgery on myself. I couldn't prescribe myself medication. I had to just sit back and listen and learn where I was at and what was going on. I couldn't make clients come to me and run my business at the same time. I couldn't force things to happen. I had to just sit back and listen and learn my season and what I needed to be doing, which was sitting still and letting things happen. And then I came, I think in January, I started to see I can come out of that. It was the working season. It was the summer season. But people don't know in the summer you got to work too. That's why it's so intense and uncomfortable. Now I'm in summer season. I know exactly where I'm at, right? I'm at the point where I got to get out there, uh, put some energy back into my business, build my business momentum back up, get my social media algorithms back up. I got to put in work, and it's going to be intense because during your summer season, um, I told you you got to take some things off. You can't always do what you were doing before. You can't do it with who you were doing it before. You can't use all the same tools. You got to figure out what's going to work for you and what's going to make you productive. The summer seasons are a wild season um, during that time because it's a lot going on. Like I said, the key word to market is your life intense right now? Is there some intense things? And I think for me, it's intense. And I notice I got friends of mine that I pray for because I can see they're in that summer season, that winter season. Those two seasons are wild seasons, man. They're intense. They're real intense because you can't always determine what's gonna happen. And neither one are comfortable. I don't like being extremely hot and I don't like being extremely cold. So you're uncomfortable. Both of those seasons are uncomfortable for people. Cool. But I had no intentions of being on this thing very lengthy. Especially here because I'm on Facebook. It's been a minute. And I'm also streaming live on my channel on YouTube as well. Um, but I just wanted to shout out everybody who's been um in their season and is willing to share with other people so we know how to handle it. So make 2024 the year in which you recognize your seasons and you deal with them accordingly and properly because um, that's going to make the difference in how your year goes. Somebody who had a bad year, oftentimes they find themselves not handling all of their seasons correctly, and that's cause for them to be sad, depressed, or filled with anxiety because of that. So, 2024, make it your point and your purpose to know your season. So, that's what I got to say today. So, this year, King will be doing more videos. And you all know me, I talk about business, I talk about random topics. Sometimes it could be more random topics, getting back to that. For those that know me, there's a time I used to get on lives on a regular basis. And this is before TikTok on Facebook, and I did a lot of encouraging things. And you're gonna find me having more conversations and discussions about different topics, mainly to excite, invite, and make you ponder on what's going on in our lives because we're all interconnected at some point and we all have a purpose. Y'all know me, Bip Bop, business in purpose and business on purpose. It's all about finding your purpose and understanding what's happening around you. So it's time for me to go get my cup of coffee. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for participating. Thank y'all for commenting. And feel free to share this with somebody who might need to hear how important it is to know your season. So y'all have a great day. Thank you. I got work to do. Peace out.